Hi, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm. I wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday Season from myself and from Lisa. It looks like we're going to have a green Christmas here at Fraser Valley Rose Farm. Today I have something super casual for you, a seasonal grab bag or say stocking stuffer of propagation and rose related topics. Let's have a look around the farm. Something really interesting about the genetic diversity of roses is that they don't all react to winter the same way. You'll see in the background of this shot that many of the old garden roses of Europe, they started shedding their leaves at first sign of cold, and they've actually almost bare by now. Whereas ones like this that have more subtropical ancestry, they're taking a risk, or they're betting that they might get more time to grow into the mild end of the season here, or that maybe the season will turn around. They just don't know. So I get the advantage and disadvantage of both ways. One thing that's nice about those that drop all their leaves is they're kind of self-cleaning, whereas this one's a little messy right now. If you look closely at some of the leaves that are on here, and I'll get you some close-ups inside the shrub, it has picked up all of the foliar disease of the season, and those leaves are still hanging on there, still hanging around and able to spread those spores, whereas the other ones have dropped their leaves and all I have to do is scoop them up from around the base. At some point on this one here, I will have to make the call. If it gets a little bit colder, maybe that'll convince it to drop more leaves. Otherwise, I'm going to be in here plucking off the leaves and cleaning up the base for the season. Now, on the other hand, the advantage of this kind of semi-evergreen tendency for me is that they, while they're continuing to try to grow, I can still continue to take cuttings off of them. And I did that for some of the minis and some other varieties around here that I'm going to show you inside in just a few minutes that I've taken cuttings of even up to 2 and 3 weeks ago. But ones that I've taken 4 and 6 weeks ago are showing roots already. So it's kind of a neat thing that they don't all shut down at the same time. Keeps me kind of busy during this holiday season. This one is nearly fully dormant. You can see just a few leaves clinging on. And so for something like this, I'd be inclined to go ahead and treat this as a hardwood cutting, getting big, thick stems from down low on the canes and putting those into the ground over where I have my other shrub cuttings. I've shown you those before in a video not too long ago. So these will go hardwood in the cold outside. On the other hand, if I were to find something as lush and clearly as active as this, and checking the firmness of the stem, it still bends around like something that is relatively fresh or semi-hardwood, I have no hesitation in taking this inside under indoor temperatures and rooting it under humidity domes as my normal semi-hardwood method. Even if it has a touch of powdery mildew like this on the leaves, that wouldn't set me back at all or give me no hesitation. Moving the video inside now, it almost feels like I haven't slowed down much for the winter season at all. Let's get you a close-up look at some of these propagation projects. This tray of rose cuttings you see here was taken right around the time I made the video on should you score your cuttings. So that was only a few weeks back now, and what you can see here when you get a close look at the base is that this has developed a good amount of roots across the base there. And I'm going to pull out a couple more just to see if we have anything. Yeah, this one here is actually rooted all the way to the sides of the plug. So just a few weeks underneath the lights and with a little bit of temperature, and it took ones that were thinking about waffling, whether they were going to go to sleep or whether they were going to continue to grow, and I've gotten new plants out of them, a whole tray, and probably not 100% of the plugs, but say 30 or 40 of them. This tray is half and half here. These are roses in the back, and then this is a vinka in the front. The rose that I have in here is mutabilis. It's a China rose with some striking single flowers that change color over the course of when they grow. This one here is a vinka called Wojo's Gem, and Wojo's Gem is a variety that has these variegated patterns on the leaves. Really quite nice. It's not like the vinca minor, which I tend to think of as vinca around here, the periwinkle, but rather a more tender or tropical variety. But you can see how nicely it's made roots and shoots already. One note on this, sometimes people will ask me, how do you know if a plant is patented? I'm going to throw the patent information for this Vinka Wojo's Gem on the screen right now. I often see this sold in a branded pot and almost implying that it's something that has a patent on it and you can't propagate, but that patent is over, and you can check that usually just by looking on the US patent site. While it's always nice to show the results, I should remind you that my basic setup looks something like this. This is an inverted storage bin with the clear base. I've put some holes in the lid and then placed the cutting trays underneath it here. And of course, these were just taken very recently, so I don't feel any pullback on those. And so if I look at the base of the cuttings, I don't see any roots on those, but that's the basic setup as it begins. At around the time that I was starting my African violet leaf cutting video, I also had in a tray like this, I had these rosemaries, and they in turn have grown up, started branching, and I've taken cuttings off of those, and that's what these are here. So successively through the winter, every few weeks I can have these rooting and then branching and be taking new cuttings off of them. And let me just check and see how these ones are doing, because I did them in the range of about 2.5 weeks ago, and if I'm very gentle, I might be able to pull this out without ruining the roots on it. The other one I wanted to show you that is sort of borderline tender in my climate, this might make it as an outdoor plant. It's called a strawberry geranium, which it is neither a strawberry nor a geranium, but actually a saxifraga. And what's kind of cool about it is that you can see that it's making all these little divisions right in the pot here. And all I have to do is reach my hands in and gently pull it out and pull out a brand new crown of this plant. And you can see actually that even in that one pull, I pulled out two big ones and a little tiny one here as well. And it's that easy to propagate. So I don't think there will be a shortage of these. The last rose I'm going to feature today is this one here called Warm Welcome, and it's a case in point of why I'm pushing the envelope to try rooting this late in the season, because this variety has been extremely resistant to my standard propagation techniques, which is the same technique, but it's done in a different time of year as semi-hardwood. But now if you look closely at the base of this, and I'll get you some close-ups here, you can see that it's callousing strongly and quickly. I've only had these in here for about 2 weeks, and already I can see it is a far more promising time of year to try propagating this than it was during the summer. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, and whether you watch this through the Christmas stretch or not, I do wish you a happy holiday season. I hope I've shown you through some of the footage here that the environment can't really limit you. Even as the outdoor hardy plants start going to sleep, you can take hardwood cuttings and do those outdoors, or you can bring some of that hardy material indoors under controlled temperatures and take some cuttings there using the semi-hardwood methods. In addition, if you have that indoor space, you can start with seeding, you can start with dividing and cuttings on your tropical plants or indoor plants as well. Anything to keep your hands busy on propagation and keep that experience growing so that when the spring comes, you're ready for it. All right, thanks so much. And if you have any questions, please drop those down in the comments below the video. I'll see what I can do to help.